All right, man, peace. So, brothers, in the middle of the last NBA season, and when I say the last NBA season, I'm talking about the 2017-2018 season, I made a video pertaining to the remote possibility that the Golden State Warriors might attempt to initiate a trade between themselves and the New Orleans Pelicans for their superstar power forward / center, Anthony Davis. There were many Golden State Warrior fans that came on my channel and they said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not going to happen. Well, in light of the fact that it's very obvious that the rest of the NBA has caught up to the Golden State Warriors, and also in light of the fact that the normal agent of chaos / Swiss Army knife basketball player Draymond Green seems to be on the downturn, and also Klay Thompson is not having the normal season that we're accustomed to, I think that there is a possibility that Golden State may try to greenlight that trade. I'm already on record earlier in the season, in the immediate aftermath of those two mama's boys detonating on one another. I'm talking about Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. I stated that I would prefer to trade KD as opposed to Draymond. But just in observing Draymond and how he's played this season, I don't think that he's as essential as he once was, because the NBA has adapted to what he does, and he's not as effective anymore. He's not as effective on defense or offense. So they may want to think about moving him now while they still can, and maybe packaging him with Klay Thompson, a couple of draft picks or what have you, maybe even get a third team involved and see if they can get back Anthony Davis and maybe even a Jrue Holiday. Who knows? But I certainly think that it's something that they should be considering right now. So anyway, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
We do, don't we?
So you know how the NBA has been rife with conspiracy talk chatter, guys, these past couple of seasons? The shape of the Earth, whether we actually landed on the moon. We did, just by the way, just saying. Well, the conspiracy theories, they do not stop outside the lines of the basketball court. Oh no! Turns out there are a number of interesting tidbits out there floating around about the defending world champions. One is a note from Mark Stein of the New York Times, whose weekly column included insider speculation that DeMarcus Cousins will consider returning to the team next season, even though they can only offer him a slight raise from his current salary of $5.3 million.
Well, what that basically means is that if you're Golden State, you may want to contact New Orleans and let them know, look, we can package Boogie Cousins, Draymond, and Klay Thompson to you for Anthony Davis and Jrue Holiday, and we'll throw in our first-round draft picks for the next 3 years. What do you say for that? Because at least if you get those three players, you know what you're getting, or at least you pretty much know what you're getting. If you make a deal with LA or even Boston, you're not quite sure what you're getting. But basically, Golden State has to wait maybe another 2 weeks or so right before the trade deadline so that New Orleans understands what they're going to be this season. But I'm pretty sure that they are going to be contacting the New Orleans Pelicans and letting them know that they're going to send them a package of those three players. I have little doubt about it. And if they know that they're not going to get back Anthony Davis, you might as well try to trade for him now while you still can, before the Lakers try to mortgage their whole team or Boston tries to mortgage their whole team for him.
We'd basically be making like another one-year deal in the $6 million range. Then, there was our own Zach Lowe, who wrote last week that the Warriors, quote, would surely be interested if Anthony Davis becomes available.
Shocker.
Well, I mean,
else would, right?
But they'd have to trade. They'd have to trade pieces off a roster currently considered to be possibly the greatest on paper roster of all time. So.
Right, but they're forward thinkers. Right now, they're appraising their team. They're looking at the rest of the NBA, and they're saying at one time, at this point in the season, we'd be 10 games ahead of everybody else. And right now, we're in the middle of the pack. And would I favor them to win the championship? Yes, I would. But if an OKC were to knock them off, if even the Rockets were to knock them off, would I be absolutely shocked? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked.
So, yes, it's sort of like, oh, gee, who wouldn't be interested in Anthony Davis? But it would be a big shakeup. I don't know. They both seemed crazy to me. I really picked at our poor producer, Eitan, who's our on-staff Warriors expert, who I said, come on, the Boogie Cousins thing, come on. Do you see, to me, honestly, that's the thing I can't even begin to buy.
I mean, it could happen.
Boogie is looking for his money this summer.
It could happen. If we're about midway through the season. He still hasn't played. If he has a performance that's, maybe maybe he comes back another year and say, I get a full season of playing healthy.
Right.
Here again with these players, with this great team.
You never know. Boogie may find happiness there. He may have found happiness there. Sometimes when you're used to chaos in your life, when you're a promoter of chaos yourself, when you come into an orderly environment, or at least a relatively orderly environment, you're in a winning culture where players are held accountable. Because Draymond Green anywhere else, him anywhere else, he would be a source of so much confusion. He would not last in the NBA very long. So he knows where his bread is buttered. Draymond better, he better calm his act down. That's why I state that Golden State, I believe that they're considering moving him and Klay, and maybe even including Boogie Cousins as well. Particularly if Anthony Davis gets put on the market, you have to be considering that. Because if you can bring back Anthony Davis and Jrue Holiday, oh hell, even Anthony Davis and one of those other 3-and-D guys on that squad, bring them back, and now you have Steph, KD, and AD. I mean, who's going to beat that team?
Win a championship, and then I get the money that I think I'm really worth. But if you're him, signing a 1-year, $10 million deal next year, somewhere else, that's
I think he's going to be looking for a long-term deal. I guess, Byron, if something goes wrong for Boogie, if the next 5 months do not play out as he expects them to, as the Warriors expect them to, if something goes very wrong, he re-injures himself, or if for some reason doesn't perform and isn't in line for a bigger multi-year deal next summer, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans front office, I'm not trading Anthony Davis anyway. I'm not moving him for anybody. Now, if he comes to the front office with his agent, Rich Paul, and they say, look, we're not going to resign here, we're going to leave, you better move us now, then that's something different. But even then, I'm going to look Anthony Davis in the eye and ask him, is that really what you want? Or is this dude putting thoughts into your head? I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So do you think the ripping up the roster to get AD is more likely?
Well, I hope not, because I want AD here in LA.
At least you're honest.
But
Danny Ainge has news for all of you, by the way.
We know that too. We know Danny has his.
He's got some plans.
Yeah, he got his hands in the pot. We know that as well. But
Dell Demps also has something to say, but might not. But we'll find out.
And if you're Dell Demps, the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans, why would you want to make a deal with the Lakers when you can make an equivalent deal with the Celtics and move Anthony Davis out of your conference?
But I don't see it being that far-fetched that you could see DeMarcus Cousins back in Golden State next year. I know it's like a 20% increase in the money that he's making this year, which is not much for a guy with this ability. But I agree with me. I think he's one of those guys that say, you know what, I'm getting myself half a season, maybe next year with a full season under my belt for some of these great players. I have a chance to get that max deal that I'm looking for, and I'm back healthy and playing the way I know I can play. I can see that happening.
The juicier one, obviously, is you go get Anthony Davis, because that's literally the definition of the whole light years thing. The idea is that they had a plan to get Kevin Durant way before anyone else even realized that plan was in place. And
absolutely. And there's no doubt about that, because I used to watch the OKC versus Golden State games in the 2015-2016 seasons in the regular season, and you would always see Kevin Durant talking to Steve Kerr on the sideline. You would always see that, and once again, there's no doubt in my mind that is what set Draymond Green off when they played the Clippers. Supposedly, he saw Kevin Durant talking to the owner of the LA Clippers, Steve Ballmer, and that's why I stated this in the video that I made pertaining to that topic. If you steal a woman from another man, you can't get mad when the woman has a roving eye for somebody else, because you lose them how you got them.
Yeah, I think they got a plan to know Kevin might not be there either after this year too. I think that's the other part of this plan. Is that let's go after AD because KD is Bolton.
Maybe that's
I'm just saying.
Maybe
that's a possibility. You could trade for AD now and then maybe tell KD, we could pay you the most money, but if you're determined to leave, we could do a sign and trade and get back Tobias Harris and Lou Williams, somebody like that.
Maybe that's how you keep KD.
Right. You dangle the thread. We can replace. It's like how you keep your girl because you got another.
No, America, no. I meant like you keep KD by saying we're going to add AD.
Oh, that you. Okay, yes. Right. So who are you getting rid of?
Yeah, and we're getting rid of blah 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 blah.
Draymond and Klay probably.
Has to be, not probably. Has to be.
Those are
That's not nice.
I mean, I don't.
Not nice. Since when do you give a shit about nice? Since when does anybody care about what's quote-unquote nice when it comes to trading players? That's why I state on this channel that when it comes to free agency, these players should have the right to go wherever the hell they want to go. I don't care about how the fans feel, all that nonsense. Because when it comes time for them to be traded, they get moved.
Well, like that's part of this. I mean, it's a business, right? Like, it's nice and stuff, but those guys are all right. But you tell me I got Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry on the same team. I'm like, come on. Yeah, like,
that's pretty nice spot.
All of these conspiracy theories more likely than the fact that the Earth is flat or...
No, those ones aren't likely at all. Let's... Right. No. Those aren't theories. They're just go.
That's just right. That's right. Or that we didn't land on the moon. We landed on the moon. The Earth is round. We'll see about Boogie and Anthony Davis. Next.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. We'll see if the Golden State Warriors actually pull the trigger if they're put in that position. So peace.